The porch light clicked on as the rain started again, a thin curtain that turned the street outside Ethan Cole's small house into a blur of silver. Inside the living room smelled of tomato sauce and toasted bread. Ethan stood in front of the dark television screen, using the glass as a mirror while he tried to settle his collar. The shirt felt wrong, too stiff, too new. He tugged at the buttons, then let his hands fall. "You look weird," a small voice announced behind him. Ethan met his daughter's gaze in the reflection. Mia stood in the hallway in unicorn pajamas, bare feet on the hardwood curls, slipping from a crooked ponytail. Rusty the stuffed fox hung from one hand, his fur worn thin and familiar. "Appreciate the support," Ethan said. Mia patted closer, studying him. "You only dress up for scary stuff. Court, parent-teacher meetings, the dentist." "It is not scary," he said. "It is just dinner." "With who?" she asked. "Is it Ms. Carla from the shop? Or Ms. Lena from the hospital? I like her. She lets me choose my bandage." He hesitated for a heartbeat. He asked him her heartbeat. "Not them," he said. "Just a friend." "A man friend or a lady friend?" "A lady friend." "So it is a date," Mia decided. He almost told her it was not, then stopped. "It is dinner with someone I met on an app." Her eyes lit. "The green one with the leaf?" He nodded. "Cedar." He had downloaded Cedar on a night when the house felt too quiet. The profile had taken forever to fill in, and when he finally hit save, he had almost deleted the whole thing. Then there was her, Elle. No last name. Photos where she was caught mid-laugh, a coffee in hand. Messages that were short and a little wry. They had traded complaints about impossible customers and a few jokes about bad movies. It was not much, but it had felt easy. They had agreed on coffee. When the sitter canceled, he had offered to cook instead. Home would be easier. There would be a kitchen he knew and Mia in her room. Now dinner sat in the oven, lasagna, bubbling behind the glass. His heart beat a little too fast. "You sure you do not want to go to Mrs. Jenkins's house?" he asked. "You could play with Jenny until I come get you." Mia hugged Rusty against her chest. "She falls asleep on the couch and snores," she said. "I can stay in my room. I will be quiet. I just want to see what your lady friend looks like." "That is not how this works," Ethan said. "You meet people when it is the right time, not when you spy from the couch." She climbed onto the arm of the sofa anyway, legs swinging. "I can say hi, then I go read, promise." He looked at her at the stubborn line already forming in her mouth. He knew that look. "Fine," he said. "Hi then book, deal." She stuck out her hand. He shook it. Her palm was small and slightly sticky. He did a quick sweep of the room, nudging a pile of crayons back toward the coffee table, straightening a stack of picture books. Toys in the corner, a jacket on the chair, mail on the counter, a life you could read in one glance. From the hallway, a fox-shaped nightlight glowed faintly outside Mia's door, painting a small orange pool on the floorboards. 3 years earlier, there had been another light at night, the rectangle of a phone in someone else's hand, a voice laughing in the dark. He pushed the memory away. This was not betrayal, it was dinner. The rain brushed harder at the windows. Ethan wiped his palms on a dish towel and checked his phone. 7 o'clock. "Is she late?" Mia asked. "She is right on time," he said. "And even if she was late, that would be fine." "Do you think you will like her?" Mia asked. "I will find out," he said. "That is the point." Rusty slipped from her hand, bounced on the cushion, then was scooped back into the circle of her arms. The doorbell rang. The sound cut through the house sharp under the muffled rain on the roof. The porch light brightened through the frosted glass, turning the entry into a soft yellow square. "That is her," Mia whispered. "Remember the deal," Ethan said. "Hi, then book." She nodded, serious now. Ethan walked to the door. His heartbeat climbed. His hand closed around the knob. The metal felt cool under his fingers. For a moment, he just breathed in tomato and garlic and wet air. He opened the door. A woman stood on the porch, framed in the circle of the porch light. Her hair was shorter than he remembered, cut to skim her jaw, damp at the ends where the rain had caught it. A green jacket hugged her shoulders, darkened in patches. Her eyes were the same light brown with a trace of gold widening as they met his. "Ethan," she said. His stomach dropped. His fingers tightened on the edge of the door. "Lena," he heard himself say. Lena Hart, Haley's sister. The woman who had cried into a napkin at his wedding and rocked his newborn daughter in a hospital chair, who had vanished from his life when the marriage exploded. The person he had not seen in 3 years. She was not supposed to be here. She was not supposed to be his date. Behind him, Mia's voice floated from the couch. "Dad, is your friend here?" Ethan did not turn right away. For a second, he just stared at Lena, the rain behind her, the porch light glowing on her wet jacket. I had no idea, she said. Her fingers tightened around the strap of her bag. I swear, the app only showed your first name. I never thought it was you. The same, he heard himself answer. His voice sounded too flat to his own ears. I did not know either. Dad, Mia called again. The cushion squeaked as she slid off the couch. Is your friend here? Lena's eyes flicked past him toward the sound. Something moved across her face, a mix of hope and worry. Ethan stepped aside just enough for Mia to see. Mia rounded the corner at a run. She skidded to a stop on her socks when she reached the entryway, hands on the doorframe. Her mouth opened. Aunt Lena. The name hung between all three of them. Mia did not wait for an answer. She launched herself across the small space, Rusty bumping against her chest, and wrapped both arms around Lena's waist. The bag swung forward and thumped against Ethan's shin. Lena let out a breath that sounded too close to a sob and crouched down to Mia's level. Her jacket crackled as it moved. She pulled the little girl into her arms and pressed her face into Mia's hair. Hey, Bug, she whispered. Look at you. Mia pulled back just far enough for Lena to see her. You cut your hair, Mia said, and you smell different. I work in a hospital now. That might be the antiseptic, Lena said and laughed a little. It came out shaky. You got taller. Someone stretched you. I am 6, Mia said. Dad says that is almost 7. Does he now? Lena murmured. Ethan watched them, one hand resting against the partly open door. The thought that this might be some elaborate joke flicked through his mind, then vanished. The surprise on Lena's face was too real. The damp marks around her eyes were too real. Water dripped from the edge of the porch roof. The night air pushed a cool draft into the house. You should come in, Ethan said quietly. You are getting soaked. Lena hesitated. Her gaze lifted from Mia to him. Are you sure I can leave? We can pretend Cedar glitched and this never happened. Mia clung tighter. No, stay, please. You have to see what Dad cooked. He used the oven. That almost never happens. Ethan felt the corner of his mouth twitch. She is overselling it. It is lasagna from a box. With extra cheese, Mia added, and the crunchy thing. Breadcrumbs, Ethan said. Lena gave a soft, helpless kind of smile. I do like cheese. He stepped back all the way, holding the door open. The porch light cast a warmer halo over the floorboards as she crossed the threshold. Her boots left small, wet prints on the entry tile. She shrugged out of her jacket, and for a moment her hand brushed his as she passed it to him. Her skin was cold from the rain. He hooked the jacket on the peg that still held a faint outline where an old coat had hung for years. Lena glanced at the empty space beside it, then looked away. This place looks the same, she said. More toys now, Ethan said. Fewer beer bottles. Mia grabbed Lena's hand. Come see dinner. In a second, Ethan said. Shoes, Mia. Mia rolled her eyes, but she slid her socks along the floor, leading the way into the kitchen. Rusty dragged by his tail. Lena followed more carefully, taking in the photos on the wall, the crayon drawings taped crooked near the light switch, the scuffed baseboards. The kitchen lights were on warm and bright. The lasagna sat on the counter, edges browned. Cheese bubbled steam, fogging the nearby cabinet door. A salad waited in a large, mismatched bowl, lettuce glistening under a thin layer of dressing. Mia hopped onto a chair. Can she sit next to me? Ethan pulled out a second chair. If she wants to. Lena set her bag down on the floor. She hovered for a moment, fingers resting on the back of the chair, as if she might still bolt for the door. Then she sat. Ethan grabbed plates, forks, and the chipped glass pitcher of water. The motion steadied his hands. He poured, passed open the drawer with the creaky slide. Ordinary sounds in a night that no longer felt ordinary. So, Lena said once he had served them all, lasagna guy now. It comes with instructions on the box, Ethan said. I am not exactly improvising. It smells really good, she replied. Mia already had sauce at the corner of her mouth. He makes grilled cheese better, she said, but he burned it last week. Ethan shot her a look. Thank you. We almost set the smoke alarm, Mia continued. It was loud. Rusty did not like it. Lena smiled. Emergency grilled cheese. That sounds intense. They ate for a while like that, with Mia filling the space. She told Lena about first grade, about her teacher who used stickers as currency, about the time she had to get stitches on her chin after tripping on the playground. Lena listened with the attentive focus of someone used to small patience and long stories. Every so often she glanced at Ethan as if checking he was still there. Ethan mostly watched. Lena had always been quieter than Haley, but there had been a lightness to her, an easy humor. Some of that was still there in the way her eyes crinkled when Mia said something strange, in the way she made herself laugh at Mia's dramatic retelling of a spelling test. Something else had been added, a weight in the set of her shoulders and the careful way she chose her words. Rusty lay on the table by Mia's plate, one ear trailing toward a small puddle of water from the condensation on a glass. Lena reached over and lifted the toy before it soaked through. "You still have this little guy," she said. Her thumb traced a faded orange patch. "He has seen some things." Mia nodded solemnly. "He went in my backpack on the first day of school. He goes to Grandma's house. He used to sleep with me at night, but sometimes he falls on the floor." "Does he still need his bedtime song?" Lena asked. Mia squinted. "I was 3. I do not need songs. I am grown." The word hung there for a second longer than it should have. Ethan saw Lena swallow. "You were very particular," Lena said. "If I did not sing the right song, you threw him at my head." Mia snorted. "I do not remember." "I do," Lena said. Lena said. Ethan cleared his throat. "More salad." They made it through seconds and a short debate over whether mushrooms were acceptable food. Mia insisted they were suspect. Ethan pointed out they were hidden under cheese anyway. Lena stayed mostly neutral, smiling behind her glass. When the plates were scraped clean, Mia leaned her cheek against Lena's arm. "Can you stay for dessert?" she asked. "We have ice cream, vanilla, but Dad puts chocolate syrup. Or sometimes he lets me put sprinkles." "I did not know we had sprinkles," Ethan said. "I want sprinkles," Mia replied. "We can have sprinkles." Lena looked at him. The question sat in her eyes, carrying more weight than ice cream. "It is a school night," Ethan said. "You need to shower and read." "I can shower fast," Mia said. "Please, 10 minutes, then dessert, then bed, I swear." Her pleading tilted into that familiar rhythm he knew would end exactly one way. He sighed. "Fine," he said, "but sprinkles for everyone or no one." Mia cheered, then turned to Lena. "Do not leave, promise." Lena smiled at her. "I promise to still be here after your shower." "You have to cross your heart," Mia insisted. Lena did. Cross my heart." Mia slid off her chair, grabbed Rusty, and ran for the hallway. Her footsteps pounded on the floorboards. A moment later, the bathroom door shut, and water started pounding in the pipes. The kitchen quieted. Ethan stood gathering plates. Lena rose too. "I can help," she said, reaching for the nearest dish. "You are a guest," he replied. She tilted her head. "Am I?" He stacked the plates anyway. The faucet squeaked as he turned it. Warm water filled the sink, steam rising to fog the window over it. The rain had slowed outside. Droplets clung to the glass like a second layer. Behind him, Lena wiped crumbs from the table into her hand, then carried them to the trash. She moved around the kitchen with the ease of someone who had done it before long ago. He rinsed, she dried. Their shoulders brushed once when they both reached for the same pan. Both muttered a soft apology and stepped aside. In the other room, the television clicked on. Mia had turned it to a cartoon channel, the volume low, singing voices faint behind the sound of the shower. "This feels strange," Lena said after a while. She leaned her hip against the counter, twisting the dish towel in her hands. "Being here, like this." Ethan turned off the faucet. Water dripped from his fingers. He took a breath and grabbed a nearby towel. "It does," he said. "I did not expect to open my door and see you on my porch." "I did not expect to be on your porch," she answered. They stood there, the empty plates stacked between them, the smell of tomato sauce still hanging in the air. In the hallway, the water in the bathroom cut off. Little feet shuffled on tile. Ethan glanced toward the doorway. "You should probably stick around," he said. "She will want to say goodnight." "I know," Lena said. Her voice softened. "I miss that." Mia came back in with damp hair and clean pajamas smelling of soap. She bounded over, climbed into Lena's lap without asking, and sighed with contentment, as if she had always belonged there. Ethan watched them chest tight. "Can Aunt Lena really have ice cream with us?" Mia asked. "If Aunt Lena wants ice cream," Ethan said, "she can have ice cream." "I do," Lena replied quietly. They moved back to the table. Ethan scooped vanilla into bowls. Mia shook sprinkles with too much enthusiasm, scattering a few onto the table. Lena took a bite and closed her eyes for a second, as if savoring more than just sugar. When the bowls were empty, Ethan checked the clock over the stove. "All right, kiddo," he said. "Bed." Mia slid down again and went to hug Lena, arms tight, face pressed to her shoulder. "You have to come back," she said into the fabric. "Not just for Dad's weird updates. Just come back." Lena held her eyes shining. "I will try," she said. Mia seemed satisfied with that. She shuffled down the hall, Rusty dangling, and disappeared into her room. The Fox nightlight blinked on a moment later, a small orange glow spilling into the dark. The house settled into a thinner kind of quiet. Somewhere in the kitchen, a dish clicked as it cooled. Ethan and Lena were suddenly alone at the table again. Ethan picked up the empty bowls and carried them to the sink. The faucet sputtered before the water ran smooth. He let it heat until steam rose and fogged the window again. Behind him, Lena traced a circle in a stray patch of melted sprinkles on the table with her fingertip. "You do this every night?" she asked. "Ice cream on school nights," he said. "No, someone negotiated a special occasion." "I meant dinner, just you and her, every night." He rinsed the bowl, then set it in the rack. "Yeah, just us." He kept his attention on the sink, plate scrape rinse. He did not need to see her to feel her watching him. The hallway light clicked off. That meant Mia was settled with a book. In a few minutes, she would call him to tuck her in. He had that much time before small ears were listening again. "You can sit," he said without turning. "You do not have to hover like a social worker." A small laugh. The chair legs scraped as she shifted. Old habits. He shut off the water and dried his hands. When he finally sat back down, the table between them felt smaller than it had an hour earlier. Up close, he saw lines at the edges of Lena's mouth that had not been there 3 years ago. Her hair was tucked behind one ear, a dark curl escaping damp at the end from the rain. "I really did not know," she said. "On Cedar, if I had seen your last name, I would have swiped left so fast the screen cracked." He huffed a quiet sound that was almost a laugh. "Good to know." "I mean not because of you," she said quickly. "Because of everything." "Everything covers a lot," he said. "It does." Silence stretched. It was not empty. It hummed with all the questions neither of them had ever asked. He pulled his glass closer and spun the water, watching the ice cube bump the sides. "So," he said, "how is Haley?" Lena's fingers stilled. She looked at the table, then at him. "She is in San Diego," Lena said, "still chasing the sun." "San Diego," he repeated. "She moved about a year after she left," Lena went on. "Met someone, got married last spring. It was small, beach linen, bare feet, very on brand." The old ache in his chest barely stirred. He felt it more like a memory of pain than pain itself. "Good for her," he said. It surprised him how much he meant it. They started a company together, something with apps for travel. Last time we talked, she was in Bali for some retreat. She took a breath that sounded thin. She did not ask about Mia. There it was, the part that still landed like a stone. "She has not called," he asked. "Not me," Lena said. Lena said, "Maybe your side." "She sent a postcard when she first moved," Ethan said. "A picture of the ocean. It said she hoped Mia would visit when she was older. No return address, no phone number." Lena let out air slowly. "Of course." He tried to imagine Haley on a beach with a drink laughing at something clever and temporary. The image did not collide with anything inside him anymore. It just sat there. When she left, he said, "I thought she needed space. I thought she would take a break, figure things out, come back. I kept Mia's backpack packed for months. Told myself it was in case of emergencies." Lena watched him, eyes steady. "Ethan," she said softly. "I know," he said. "I know she is not coming back. I knew that long before the postcard." The kitchen smelled faintly of coffee now, though no one had made any. It was just the scent that lived in the walls, soaked into wood and grout over years. He rested his forearms on the table. "I thought you might come by," he admitted. "Back then. After." "I wanted to," she said. "Then why did you not?" Her hand went to the small silver ring on her right hand. She spun it once, twice, like she had earlier. "My mother had an opinion," she said. "Everyone did." He did not need a full explanation to fill in the picture. Family dinners, worried glances, sentences that started with, "You have to understand she is your sister." "They blame me," he said. It came out more matter-of-fact than bitter. "They blame the town," Lena said. "The house, the baby, the routine. Everything except the part they should have looked at." He blinked. "Meaning what?" "Meaning Haley," Lena replied. "She has always been restless, ever since we were kids. She used to climb out her window and sleep on the roof just to feel the night air. Nothing was ever enough for long. Not school, not jobs, not people." He let that sink in. It fit with pieces he already knew. The way Haley used to talk about leaving, about big cities and big lives. The way she would go quiet when laundry piles grew and bills came due. "I thought she would change," he said. "When Mia was born, I thought that would ground her." "I hoped so too," Lena said. "I saw how you tried. I saw how tired you both were. But I also saw the way she looked at your life, like it was a shirt she had put on by mistake." He remembered that look, a faraway shine in her eyes while he cleaned bottles in the sink. The way she would scroll through pictures of beaches while Mia cried in the other room. "I should have come over," Lena said quietly. "After she left. I should have knocked on the door and checked on you. On Mia. You picked your side, he said. It is not that simple, she replied. She is my sister. When everything exploded, my parents closed ranks around her. They said you would be fine, that you had your people, that my job was to protect her. Were they right? He asked. About me being fine. She gave a humorless smile. You looked like someone dropped half a house on you. The one time I saw you at the store, you had Mia in the cart, and you did not even see me. He searched his memory. A grocery aisle, fluorescent lights, a crying toddler, a list he could not find. He had no recollection of Lena in that picture. I am sorry, he said. Do not be, she answered quickly. I am not mad about that. I am mad at myself. I let them talk me into staying away. I told myself you probably did not want to see any of us anyway, that my showing up would make things worse. He thought of all the nights Mia had asked for Aunt Lena with her head on his chest, Rusty under her arm, her words soft with sleep. She asked for you, he said, a lot, for a while. Lena flinched, her hand flattened on the table. I figured, she said, she used to follow me around like a duckling. It is why I gave her the fox. I thought if she had something from me, it would be easier when I could not be there. Her voice thinned on the last words. You could have called, he said, but without accusation. It came out as a simple fact. I know, she whispered. I was a coward. Water shifted in the pipes as someone in another house turned on a tap. A car rolled slowly past outside tires hissing on the wet pavement. From down the hall, Mia's voice carried faint. Dad. Ethan stood. Back in a second. In Mia's room, the Fox nightlight painted orange on the walls. She lay half under her blanket, a book open on her chest, Rusty tucked under her chin. You did not say goodnight, she complained. I figured you were negotiating extra pages, he said. I waited, she said. Is Aunt Lena staying forever? He sat on the edge of the bed. She is not staying the night. She has her own place. Not tonight, Mia said. Forever. He looked at her at the curls spread on the pillow. I do not know, he said honestly. She came for dinner. We will see what happens from there. Mia seemed to think this over. She looked sad when she hugged me, she said, but her arms felt the same. He swallowed. She missed you. Did Mom call her? Mia asked suddenly. Does she know Aunt Lena is here? The question was sharp and clean. It landed in the space between them like a stone. I do not think so, he said. Your mom and Aunt Lena do not talk much. Mom does not call me, Mia said. He brushed a curl away from her eyes. I know. Do you think she forgot our number? Mia asked. He let himself breathe slowly before he answered. No, he said. I think grown-ups get lost sometimes. It is not your fault when they do. Mia was quiet for a moment. Rusty peeked out from under her chin, one black-stitched eye catching the nightlight. Can Aunt Lena come back? She asked. Even if Mom does not call, if Aunt Lena wants to, and if it is all right with you, he said, then yes. I want her to, Mia murmured. Her eyes drooped. She smells like the hospital, but in a good way. He smiled a little at that. Go to sleep, kiddo. He kissed her forehead, fixed the blanket, and turned off the lamp. The glow from the nightlight shifted soft and steady. Back in the kitchen, Lena sat where he had left her, elbows on the table, hands folded around her glass. She looked up when he entered. She still asks about her, Lena asked. Not as much, and he said. It comes in waves. Lena nodded. Her thumb rubbed along the rim of the glass. I did not know what she told you, she said. Haley, I mean, about why she left. He pulled out his chair and sat. The legs scraped again, softer this time. She said she felt trapped, he said. By the town, by me, by being a mother. She wanted more. That sounds like her, Lena said quietly. She told me it was mutual, he went on, that we had both changed, that we both wanted different things. He let his hand curl around the condensation ring on the table, feeling the dampness under his skin. Only one of us packed a suitcase. Lena watched his face. You did not want this. This, he repeated. Raising Mia on my own in a house that echoes at night? No. I did not want that. I wanted her to have two parents who stayed. He exhaled slowly. But I could not make Haley want what I wanted. Believe me, I tried. Lena closed her eyes for a second, then opened them again. I am sorry, she said. You did not leave, he said. I did, she answered, her voice low, just in a different way. They sat with her last words between them. The fridge hummed a steady low sound under the quiet. I did, Lena repeated, fingers knotting together. I picked up my life and took it somewhere else. I just did not use a suitcase. You stayed with your family, Ethan said. I hid behind them, she replied. There is a difference. He watched her for a moment. The girl he remembered from years ago had worn her heart where everyone could see it. The woman in front of him had tucked it away somewhere safer. "You are here now," he said. Her mouth twitched. "Because your dating app matched us." "Feels like a very specific bug," he answered. "Or a very rude feature." The corner of his lip lifted. He rubbed at another ring of water on the table, smearing it into a faint streak. "I am sorry I did not reach out," Lena said. "To you, to Mia. That is all I really wanted to say tonight. If Cedar had not forced this, I might never have said it. But I mean it." He let that sit. For a long time, he had told himself that the whole Hart family had turned their backs on him and Mia. It had been easier that way, cleaner. Hurt was simpler if it was solid. Hearing her talk, the edges blurred. "Mia was 3, he said quietly. She did not understand sides. She just knew people were gone. Lena's eyes shone. "I know," she whispered. "If you let me, I would like to at least fix that part." The image of Mia curled in her lap a few minutes earlier rose easily. His daughter had not hesitated. She had poured herself back into Lena's arms as if no time had passed. "She wants you here," he said. "That is obvious." "I do not want to confuse her," Lena said. "Show up and disappear again." "Then do not disappear," he said. She looked at him, and for the first time all night there was something almost like relief in hers, not full, not settled, but present. "You would be all right with that?" she asked. "Me being around a little, for her." "For her," he echoed. They held that line like a handrail. It made everything feel safer. He stood. "I should walk you to your car." On the porch the rain had thinned to a mist. The boards creaked softly under their steps. The air smelled of wet leaves and distant smoke from a neighbor's fireplace. Lena slipped her jacket on. Ethan opened the door, and cold slid in, wrapping around his ankles. Her car sat under the street lamp at the curb, droplets catching the light. She paused at the top of the steps and looked back at the house. Through the front window, she could see the faint glow of the Fox nightlight at the end of the hall. "Thank you for dinner," she said, "and for not slamming the door when you saw my face." "It crossed my mind," he said. She smiled small and real this time. "I meant it. If you are comfortable, I could come by sometime, to see Mia, with notice next time." "This town loves brunch," he said. She would demolish a stack of pancakes. "I know a place with good coffee," Lena replied. "Idle Moon, the diner on Oak, still there?" "Still there," he said. "Sunday." "Sunday," she confirmed. She walked down the steps, keys jingling in her hand. When she reached the car, she looked back once more. He lifted a hand. She returned the gesture, then slid into the driver's seat. The headlights flicked on, washing the yard in pale beams. The porch light glowed in answer, a softer yellow. Ethan watched until the car turned the corner and disappeared. The street returned to its usual darkness. He stood for another moment, feeling the damp on his face, unable to tell if it came from the mist or his own skin. Inside, he checked on Mia once more. She was sprawled sideways across the bed, one arm flung out. Rusty clutched to her chest. Her mouth was slightly open, breath even. He pulled the blanket up, careful not to wake her. In the living room, he finally sat on the couch. The quiet of the house was different now, not less but lined with the memory of another adult voice. He picked up his phone. The Cedar notification from earlier, the one that had said, "You have a match," still glowed in the thread. He opened the chat, saw the last message from Elle. "Looking forward to meeting you in person. No pressure, just coffee." He stared at it, then typed a reply. "So tonight was unexpected." He erased it. He typed again. "Thanks for coming over. Mia was happy to see you." He hesitated, then hit send. The message hung there, a small blue bubble, until a second check mark appeared. He set the phone down, sank deeper into the cushion, and closed his eyes. 3 days later, the bell above the door of Idle Moon Diner jingled as he and Mia stepped inside. The diner had not changed since he was 17. Same red vinyl booths, same chipped counter, same chalkboard menu with daily specials written in slightly smudged handwriting. The scent of coffee and bacon lived in the place like a permanent resident. Mia walked straight to a booth by the window. She climbed onto the seat, kneeling to look out at the parking lot. "Do you think she will come?" she asked. "You sound very sure she said yes," he said. "She crossed her heart," Maya replied, as if that settled the matter. He opened his mouth to remind her that grown-ups sometimes broke promises, then shut it again. There was no reason to plant that seed today. The waitress came by with menus. "Hey, Ethan," she said. "The usual." "Coffee, please," he said. "She will have orange juice." "Got it," the waitress said. "Anyone joining you?" "Yes," Mia answered before he could. "My aunt." The waitress nodded without comment and moved away. Mia tugged at the salt shaker, making the tiny pile inside shift. Rusty sat between them on the table, propped up so he could see. The The door opened again. Cold air and the smell of wet pavement swirled in. Ethan looked up. Lena stood just inside, shaking rain from her umbrella. She wore jeans boots and a navy sweater, her hair tucked under a knit beanie. When she spotted them, her shoulders relaxed a fraction. Mia waved both arms. "Here." Lena smiled and crossed the room. The knit of her sweater brushed against the vinyl as she sat down next to Mia. "You made it," Mia said. "I told Dad you would." He did not answer, but his face looked worried. Ethan picked up his coffee. "I did not look worried." "You look like when you cannot fix the heater," Mia said. "You get a line here." She poked a finger between her eyes. Ethan knocked her hand away gently. "Do I need to apologize for her honesty now?" he asked Lena. "I like her honesty," Lena said. "It is useful." Her eyes met his over Mia's head. The contact was brief but quieter than their messages had been. They ordered pancakes and eggs. Mia requested extra syrup. She talked with her mouth full about a math game her teacher had shown the class. Lena listened and asked questions that made Mia puff up with importance. Ethan watched them and sipped his coffee. This, he realized, was the piece he had missed most. Not romantic dinners or date nights, but simply existing in public as more than a man and a child. Having another adult at the table, someone to share the small comments and everyday observations. He caught himself and looked away, focusing on his plate. After brunch, they stepped out into the weak sunlight. The rain had paused. The parking lot glistened. "Can we go to the park?" Mia asked. "Please, the one with the big slide." "We did not bring your boots," Ethan said. "It is muddy." "I will hold her hostage until you do," Lena said. "The slide is a classic." He frowned. "You had plans." "I have a late shift," she said. "I have time." Mia slipped her hand into Lena's. The sight hit him with more force than he expected. The small fingers inside the larger hand, the easy way Mia trusted. "Fine," he said. "Half an hour." At the park, the ground squished under footsteps. The slide still towered over the playground, its metal sides dulled by years of use. Mia ran ahead, Rusty tucked under her arm. She climbed, climbed again. Her laughter carried on the cool air. Ethan and Lena sat on a damp bench. Their shoulders did not touch, but the space between them felt charged. "How is work?" he asked. "Boring answer," she said. "Busy. Kids do not schedule their emergencies for convenient times." "You look tired," he said, then winced. "I mean in a competent way." She laughed. "That is one way to phrase it. It is a lot. Worth it, though. Sometimes you hold a baby and they stop crying, and you feel like you have superpowers." He watched Mia clamber onto the climbing frame. "I remember that feeling." "I saw you with her in the hospital," Lena said, "back when she was born. I thought he was made for this, for being a dad." "That is not how it felt at 3 in the morning," he said. "But thanks." They fell into a rhythm then. He told her about the repair shop, about Mrs. Nichols, who called every time her freezer hummed louder than usual. She told him about night shifts and coworkers and the vending machine that only ate her money. When Mia finally trudged back to them, knees muddy, hair wild, she looked satisfied. "We can come again," she told Lena. "If your dad approves," Lena said. Mia turned to Ethan with the same direct gaze she used when asking for extra dessert. "Can she come hang out at our house sometimes? Not just pancakes and park." He looked at Lena. Her face was open, hopeful, and wary at once. "She can come by," he said, "if she feels like dealing with our mess." Lena's smile came slowly, but it settled. "I think I can handle it." Over the next week, she did more than handle it. She showed up on Tuesday evenings with a bag of groceries and recipes on her phone. She helped Mia build a paper solar system for science, her hair pulled back, flour and glue on her fingers. She cheered from the sidelines at soccer practice, clapping, even when Mia only chased the ball without touching it. Sometimes she arrived straight from the hospital, sneakers squeaking on the kitchen floor, scrub top hidden under a jacket. Sometimes she came on her day off in soft sweaters and jeans, carrying a board game under one arm. Rusty migrated. The fox started appearing not just in Mia's bed, but on the coffee table next to Lena's mug, or tucked into the pocket of Lena's jacket, smuggled there by small hands. The house changed in ways that were hard to measure. There was another pair of shoes by the door, another laugh in the living room, another voice joining his when he reminded Mia to brush her teeth. Ethan told himself that it was good for Mia. He told himself that this was about giving his daughter back a piece of family she had lost. That was true. It just was not the whole truth. One Friday evening, they ended up on the couch again. A cartoon movie played on the screen, bright and loud. A bowl of popcorn sat half-eaten between them. Mia was curled sideways, her head in Lena's lap, feet draped over Ethan's thighs. Rusty lay on Mia's stomach, rising and falling with her breathing. Halfway through the movie, Mia's eyes closed. Her hand relaxed over the fox, her mouth parted. Lena brushed a curl away from Mia's forehead. Her fingers were gentle, mindful of not waking her. Out, Ethan said quietly. Completely, Lena replied. They both reached for the popcorn bowl at the same time. His hand brushed against hers. Warmth sparked where their skin met. Neither pulled away immediately. She looked up. The light from the television washed blue over her face, softening the lines there. For a second, his living room with its scattered toys and worn furniture held more air than his lungs could manage. He cleared his throat and let his hand fall back to his own knee. She will be mad if she wakes up and missed the ending, he said. She has seen it 5 times, Lena answered. Her voice had dropped softer than the movie soundtrack. She just wanted an excuse to sit between us. He allowed himself a small smile. On the screen, animated characters ran towards some new crisis. In the room, no one moved. The only sounds were the murmur of dialogue, the soft whir of the heater, Mia's slow, even breaths. Ethan focused on keeping his own breathing just as steady. The first real storm of the season rolled in on a Friday night. Rain slapped the living room windows hard enough that the glass hummed. Wind pushed at the old frames, making a faint whistle in the corners. Ethan checked the group chat on his phone for the 3rd time. The last message from Mrs. Taylor was still there. A picture of 3 girls in sleeping bags on a carpeted floor, faces painted with glitter thumbs up. Mia had drawn sunglasses on Rusty with a marker before she left, and declared him ready for his first sleepover. Ethan zoomed in on the photo until the pixels blurred, then set the phone face down on the counter. His house felt larger without Mia. The silence was not heavy exactly, but it stretched. He had just opened the fridge when someone knocked. Not the doorbell, not the quick tap of a delivery driver. 3 knuckles steady and familiar. He wiped his hands on a dish towel and went to the door. Lena stood on the porch in a raincoat hood pushed back. Her hair clung damp around her face. She held a brown paper bag in both hands, dark spots spreading where the rain had hit it. "Hey," she said, "I brought food." The porch light threw a pale circle around her. Rain glittered in the beam. Behind her, the streetlights were smeared halos. "You did not have to," Ethan said. "You told me you were going to eat leftover cereal and call it a night," she replied. "That is a cry for help." He stepped aside. "Come in." She slipped past him, brushing a cool breeze into the hallway. He closed the door, and the sound of the storm dropped to a muffled roar. Inside, she pushed her hood back and shook off a few drops. The smell of wet wool and city air followed her. "How was the party?" she asked, nodding toward his phone on the counter. "They turned Mia into a unicorn with glitter," he said. "She seems thrilled." "Of course she is," Lena said. "She loves chaos." Her bag hit the counter with a soft thump. She unfolded the top and pulled out a container of marinated chicken, a bunch of cilantro, a pack of tortillas, a lime, an onion, a small jar of something red. "Tacos," she announced. "Real ones, not the kit with the smiling yellow shell." "You are insulting the staples of my pantry," he said. "Good," she answered. "You deserve better." It struck him then. Every other time she had come over, Mia had been in the house orbiting them, bouncing between questions and games. This was the first evening that was just the 2 of them, without an event or a crowd around it. "Do you want music?" he asked. "Please," she said. "If I hear one more monitor beep in my head, I will lose it." He loaded a playlist at random. Soft guitar filled the kitchen. The storm became a low backdrop to it. Lena started slicing onions with quick, practiced movements. He pulled the chicken from its container and heated a pan. Oil hissed when it hit the hot metal scent, rising rich and sharp. They moved around each other without much talk at first. The kitchen was not big, but they did not bump often. When they did, it was a bump of hips or shoulders, a quick apology, a sidestep. He noticed she had memorized where everything was. The cabinets she opened were the right ones every time. Plates, glasses, spices. She knew where he kept the cumin and the extra salt. At some point, his kitchen had become partly hers. "Work?" he asked, as she smashed an avocado in a bowl with the back of a fork. "Long week," she said. "Flu season starting, babies everywhere." "Any sleep?" he asked. "Te passes. A little," she said. "Enough to drive without seeing double. You..." 2 in a row where no one called about their water heater exploding, he said. "I am not sure what to do with the peace." "You invite a woman over and feed her grilled chicken?" she said, crumbling cheese into the bowl. "That was your idea," he said. "Details," she replied. The chicken browned, filling the room with the smell of char and spices. He flipped the pieces, listening to the sizzle. The heat warmed his face, pushed the damp chill from his skin. When they sat down, the table looked almost festive. Tacos piled on plates, lime wedges catching the light, a small dish of sliced jalapenos that Mia would never have gone near. Lena took a bite and closed her eyes for a second. "This is good," she said. "You are wasted on lasagna boxes." "Credit the marinade," he said, "and that blog you texted me." "I have officially increased your dinner repertoire to 2 meals," she said. "My work here is done." They ate without hurry. The rain filled the pauses in their conversation. It rattled at the windows, washed over the roof in slow waves. He told her about a job from that morning, about crawling under a house to fix a pipe, while a raccoon watched him from the far corner, like a suspicious landlord. She laughed, covering her mouth with her hand as she chewed. She told him about a little boy who kept calling her Dr. Nurse, no matter how many times she corrected him, and about a teenager who insisted he did not need stitches, even as his knee kept bleeding through a towel. By the time the plates were mostly bare, and the music had looped through the playlist twice, the house felt different again, looser, warmer. Ethan leaned back in his chair, legs stretched under the table. "This was better than cereal," he said. "I will remind you of that next time you claim you do not need saving from yourself," Lena said. He gathered plates. She stood up when he did. "I will wash," she said. "You cooked." "You worked all week," he answered. "I like washing dishes," she said. "It is straightforward. You see the progress. Do not take it from me." He gave in, carrying everything to the sink. She ran the water, adjusting it until steam rose. The scent of dish soap spread, cutting through the spice and lime. He wiped the table, feeling the smooth grain of wood under the damp cloth. Behind him, plates clinked, water splashed. The storm went on, beating at the walls. When the kitchen was clean enough to satisfy both of them, they drifted to the living room almost without speaking. The lamp in the corner cast a warm puddle of light over the couch. The television sat dark. Lena curled into one corner of the couch, tucking her feet under herself. Ethan took the other, one arm draped along the back. For a few minutes they just listened. Rain on glass, wind in the trees, a distant car on wet asphalt. "I have wondered something for a long time," Lena said at last. Her voice was quiet, but it cut clear through the sounds. He turned his head. "Yeah, you do not have to answer," she said. "You can tell me, it is none of my business, but I would like to know." "Ask," he said. She drew a line along the seam of a cushion with her fingertip. "What really happened between you and Haley?" He did not answer at first. He had told versions of the story, short ones for co-workers who needed a quick context, practical ones for teachers and doctors, a few raw ones for his brother washed down with beer. With Lena, he had skirted the edges. Enough truth to be honest, not enough to open the whole thing. Hearing her ask now, he felt the weight of it differently. She was not looking for gossip. She was looking for the shape of the wound. He stared at the dark TV screen. Their reflections sat there, faint and doubled. "You know, we met in Portland," he said. "You were there for some of it." "I was there for the cute part," she said. "You two sharing fries, arguing about music, pretending not to plan a future." "We were good at pretending," he said. He let his head fall back against the couch. The cushion gave a small sigh under him. "We were 23, he said. "We thought that was old. We thought marriage would be some adventure. Move to the coast, buy a house, have a baby, live the postcard." "You did that," Lena said. Lena said. "We did the first half," he said. The second half looked different in her head. Rain surged louder for a stretch, as if punctuating the thought. At first it was small things, he said. She missed Portland. She missed concerts and bars and the idea of spontaneity. She would sit at the window and scroll through photos of people in cities, parties on rooftops. I would be in the kitchen making dinner, and it felt like she was somewhere else entirely. Lena listened, still tracing the cushion seam. "When Mia was born," he continued, "I thought it would change, that when she held our daughter everything would click, that the restless part would settle. That was my story. That was what I told myself." He could see it again in his mind. The hospital room, the fluorescent lights, Haley's hair plastered with sweat, her face pale and astonished as the nurse put a squirming, red-faced baby on her chest. She did love Mia, he said, in her way. She just did not love what came with her. The nights, the routine, the feeling of being needed every minute. "We talked about it," he went on. "We tried to find things that were hers. She took art classes. I took more night shifts so she could get out. We started couples therapy." He let himself smile at the memory, bitter and fond all at once. "The therapist had a bowl of hard candy on the table," he said. "Haley used to unwrap them one by one just to have something to do with her hands. She never ate them. She left them in neat little rows, all stripped of their wrappers. I think that said more than anything she actually said out loud." Lena made a soft sound that might have been agreement. When Mia was 2, he said Haley got a job offer in New York, marketing for some travel company, big money, big city, exactly what she used to talk about in college. You told me about the offer, Lena said, back then, for about 30 seconds on the phone. Then you said it was not serious. It became serious, he said. She wanted to go. I did not. I kept thinking about Mia on planes, Mia in tiny apartments, Mia in daycare for 12 hours. I kept thinking about how much I liked fixing heaters for people who knew my name. He rubbed his thumb against the grain of the couch. We fought about it, he said. A lot. Some of it was about New York. Most of it was about everything else. She said I was small, that I was dragging her down. I said she was selfish. It was not our finest work. He took a breath. In therapy, the question kept coming up. Are you two even in the same relationship? Do you want the same thing? One day she answered no, out loud, in the room. Lena shifted, leaning forward a little. I remember looking at her, he said, sitting on this ugly beige couch holding a tissue and thinking she said it. She finally said it where someone else could hear. That should have felt like relief. It just felt like everything dropped at once. What did you say? Lena asked. I said I wanted our daughter to have a mother who did not resent her, he said. And then I realized I was not talking about a move anymore. I was talking about staying or not staying. The deck outside groaned as the wind pushed against it. A branch tapped once against the siding. She moved out 2 weeks later, he said, into a furnished sublet in Seattle first. She said she needed to see if life felt different away from the house, from us. She took a suitcase and a leather weekend bag, he added. She left half her clothes in the closet, left her mug in the cabinet, left that red sweater Mia used to chew on. She said it was not permanent, that she just needed air. I believed her. His throat tightened. He cleared it. At night, Mia would wake up calling for her, he said. I would walk her around the house and tell her mommy was on a trip, that she would send pictures, that she loved her. He stared at his own hands. I called Haley every day at first, he said, then every other day. Then I waited for her to call me. Weeks went by. When she finally did call, it was to ask about lawyers. He let that sit. The rain filled the space again. I did not want a divorce, he said. I wanted her to come home. I wanted her to choose us. She chose out. Lena watched him, eyes dark and clear. She did not reach for him, did not fill the space with words. She let the story land where it needed to. He sank back into the couch. That is the longer version, he said. You were there for parts. Now you have the rest. For a moment, the only sound was the rain pressing at the windows and the faint murmur of the playlist drifting in from the kitchen. Lena sat very still. Her hands were clasped in her lap, fingers white at the knuckles. She stared at the coffee table rather than at him. I did not know, she said finally. Not all of it. Pieces sure, the job offer, the fighting, the late-night texts that stopped. But not the way she said it in that room, not the way she left you holding it all. You knew enough, he said. I knew just enough to pick the wrong place to stand, she answered. He watched her turn the silver ring on her finger again. It slipped over her knuckle and back a tiny loop of movement that matched the circle in his chest. What did she tell you? He asked. Lena drew in a breath, held it, let it out. That the two of you had grown apart, she said. That you both wanted different things. That she felt suffocated here, and you understood. Understood, he repeated. That was the word, Lena said. She did not say you begged her to stay. She did not say you were still trying. Of course not, he said. He felt no heat in the words. The anger had burned through years ago, leaving something quieter behind. She cried a lot, Lena went on, at my parents' house. They treated her like she had survived a catastrophe. They called you that boy again like you were 19 and had shown up late to dinner, not the man who had been married to her for 7 years. Ethan gave a short breath that might have been a laugh. I remember that boy, he said. I was supposed to be on her side, Lena said. That was the expectation. She is my sister. Bloodlines, all that. Were you? He asked. Lena was quiet. Her eyes found his. I was confused, she said. I spent a lot of time thinking there had to be something you were not telling me. Something awful you had done. People do not just leave babies. They leave for reasons. He swallowed once. And you decided the reasons were mine? I tried to, she said. It would have made it easier. Safer. It meant I could keep her as the version I wanted her to be. And me as what? He asked, the anchor that sank her. She flinched a little. For a while, yes. The honesty hit him harder than any insult could, because he could picture it. The living room in her parents' house, the curtains drawn Haley on the couch, with a blanket around her shoulders, saying she felt trapped that no one listened, that only her family understood. "Then I saw you in the store," Lena said quietly. He looked up. "You told me about that. Tonight." "Not all of it," she said. She leaned back, eyes on some point above his shoulder. "You were in the bread aisle?" she said. "Mia was in the cart. She had one of those samples in her hand, a little cube of cheese. She was chewing on it like it was the last food in the world. You had dark circles under your eyes. Your shirt was inside out. There was a smear of something on your sleeve, and you were singing." He blinked. "Singing. Some kid's song," she said. "Soft, under your breath, just loud enough for her to hear while you grabbed pasta. She was laughing. You looked like you might fall over, but you were making her laugh." He searched himself for that moment, the fluorescent aisle of the shopping cart. All he could find was a blur of lists and crying. He believed her anyway. "I stood there and watched you for maybe 30 seconds, Lena said. "Then I walked away before you could see me." "Why?" he asked. Her lips pressed together, then eased. "Because in that moment," she said, "the story I had been telling myself about who did what stopped working. You did not look like a man who had agreed to give up on his marriage. You looked like someone who was trying very hard to keep his kid from feeling the full impact of her mother leaving." He held her gaze. "So you left me to it," he said. "I told myself you had your side," she said. "Your family, your friends, the people at the shop. I told myself crashing into your aisle with mine would only make things worse." He let out a breath. "You tell yourself a lot of things." "That is what I do," she said. "I build stories. It is how I keep moving." He shifted on the couch, turning more fully toward her. "So what is the story now?" he asked. She looked at him. The lamplight caught in her eyes, making them shine. "That I hurt people by staying away," she said. "That I hurt you, that I hurt her." "Mia forgives fast," he said. "Kids do," Lena answered. "Adults are more complicated." He watched the muscles in her jaw tighten and loosen. There was something else sitting behind her words, something she had not named yet. "You said earlier you were a coward," he said. "That is not why you stayed gone, not all of it." She let out a small, humorless laugh. "You were always good at seeing under the easy answers." He waited. "I stayed away for a lot of reasons," she said. "My parents, Haley's version of things. Fear that you blamed me as much as you blamed her." She paused. Her hand found the ring again, turning it around her finger. "And there was something else," she said. "Something I did not have language for at the time. Or maybe I did, and I did not want to use it." His chest tightened. "Lena." She looked straight at him. "I was always a little in love with you," she said. The words were not loud, but they landed in the air between them with clean weight. He did not move. His heartbeat roared briefly in his ears, louder than the rain. "Even back then," she said. "College, your wedding, the first time you brought Haley home. It was not some big forbidden romance. I was not plotting. I loved my sister. I loved that she was happy with you. I loved you for making her laugh, for making her feel safe." She spoke slowly, picking each word with care. "But somewhere in there," she went on, "I also loved the way you talked to me when she left the room. The way you remembered I had an exam and made coffee extra strong. The way you stood for 2 hours in our mom's kitchen fixing a cabinet because it drove me crazy when it squeaked." He swallowed. His mouth had gone dry. "I respected your marriage," she said. "I never tried to be anything more than her sister around you. I dated other people. I told myself I was being dramatic. But the feeling was there, like a low hum in the background." She looked down at her hands. "When she left you," she said, "that hum got louder. All of a sudden there was this space where she used to stand. And every time I thought about walking toward you, every alarm in my head went off. It felt wrong. It felt like betraying her even though she was the one who had walked away." She rubbed her thumb across the ring skin, reddening. "So, I did the only thing that made sense in that mess," she said. "I stepped away from both of you. If I did not let myself be your support or Mia's, then I could not cross any lines. I told myself I was protecting everyone. What I was really doing was running." The confession hung between them, warmer and more fragile than anything she had said all night. Ethan leaned forward, elbows on his knees, hands loose. "You thought I would want you to stay away," he said. "I thought I did not deserve to be near you," she replied. "That whatever I felt disqualified me. Good sisters do not have those thoughts." He sat with that. The storm softened outside, the rain falling in steadier lines. "I should tell you I never thought of you like that," he said slowly. A flicker passed through her eyes. Not surprise, more like bracing. "And that would be a lie," he added. Her breath caught. "When I first met you," he said, "I thought you were funny and sharp and less impressed by me than Haley was. I liked that. It kept me honest. I liked being around you." "You liked being around everyone?" she said, trying for lightness. "Not like that," he said. "There were nights early on when I would come over for dinner and I would catch myself tracking your reactions to things, not just hers." He let his gaze rest on her without flinching. "I told myself it was normal," he said, "that you were becoming my sister too, that of course I cared what you thought. When Haley and I started falling apart, I built a wall in my head and put you on the other side of it. I did not let myself go there. It was hard enough watching one relationship die." The lamplight made a soft halo on the wall behind her. Her shadow cut through it. "And now?" she asked. The question was simple. It was not simple. He thought of Mia asleep with Rusty under her chin. He thought of taco nights and muddy park benches and the way Lena's laugh lifted a room without asking permission. "Now I see you in my kitchen," he said. "On my couch. In this house. I see the way you are with her. The way you are with me. And I know it is not just about the past." Her shoulders dropped a fraction, as if she had been holding breath for days. "I care about you," he said, in a way that is not brother-in-law, not casual friend. "I do not know if the word is the same as yours, but it is not small." The room felt smaller around the truth, not cramped, just concentrated. Lena's eyes shone again, but she did not look away. "I told myself," she said slowly, "that if I ever said this out loud, it would blow everything up, that you would be angry or disgusted, or you would tell me I had ruined something that was already broken." "I am not angry," he said. "You should be," she replied. "I am telling you I loved you while you were married to my sister, that I loved the man who came out the other side of that, the one sitting here now, the one who reads bedtime stories in 3 different voices and can fix a dryer with a bent spoon." His throat tightened again at the word she slipped in there. Love. It sat there, without grand announcements, simply worn in like a comfortable shirt. He reached for the edge of the coffee table, fingers closing around the wood. "The part that scares me," he said quietly, "is not what this says about the past. It is what it does to Mia's future." Lena nodded at once. "I know," she said. "She is the important one. She adores you," he said. "If we do something with this and it falls apart, she loses you all over again. I cannot put her through that." Lena's hands tightened again. "I would not leave her," she said, the words bursting out before she could soften them. "You say that now," he said gently. "No one walks into these things planning to leave." She closed her eyes for a moment, then opened them. "I understand," she said. "I am not asking you to ignore her. I would never want you to. I just needed you to know why I disappeared, and why I am here. I needed you to know the whole ugly, complicated shape of it." He let his hand slide from the table to the couch cushion between them. Slowly, as if testing cold water, he turned his palm up. Lena watched the movement. Her own hand hovered for a second, then settled into his. Her fingers were cool. His were warm. Their hands fit together with embarrassing ease. "We can decide what to do with this later," he said. "We do not have to name everything tonight." She nodded. Her grip tightened. "But I am glad you told me," he added. "Even the bad parts," she asked. "Especially those," he said. "I am tired of half stories." They sat like that side by side on the couch, hands joined the storm, slowly unwinding outside. The house felt less empty, less large. It felt full of something fragile and real, something that would require care. In the hallway, the Fox nightlight glowed against the dark, steady and small. Their joined hands lay between them on the couch, a small bridge in the warm pool of lamplight. Ethan felt every point of contact, her fingers along his, the slight curve of her palm, the steady pressure that said she was there and not planning to bolt for the door. The rain had softened to a steadier fall. It whispered now instead of pounding. Lena watched their hands for a moment. Her thumb moved once, tracing the side of his index finger. "So what do we do with this?" she asked. He breathed in, let the air fill his chest slowly, then out again. "I do not know yet," he said. "I just know it is not nothing." Her mouth twitched. "Not nothing, that is one way to put it." The joke eased some of the tension, but not all of it. She shifted closer by an inch, the couch cushion dipping under her weight. "I meant what I said," she added. "I will not be the reason Mia gets hurt again. If this is just a thing that lives in our heads, if that is safer, I can live with that." He turned toward her, their knees nearly touching now. "I cannot pretend I do not feel it," he said. "That is the thing. I tried not to think about you that way for years. You still got in." He saw something like relief flicker across her face, followed quickly by worry. I am scared, he admitted. She nodded. Me too. Not of you, he said. Of what happens if we try and it does not work. Her eyes softened at that. You are thinking about her again. Always, he said. She looked toward the hallway, where the faint orange of the Fox nightlight seeped into the dark. Let me say this one more time, she said. I am not going anywhere because it gets hard. I know that promise does not fix every fear. People break promises, but I want you to hear it. He held her gaze. She did not look away. I hear you, he said. They sat with that, letting the space adjust. So, she said quieter now, how do we move without knocking her over? He exhaled slowly. Mia's face rose in his mind the way her eyes had looked that afternoon when she asked if her mother had forgotten their number. She knows you as Aunt Lena, he said, as the person who gave her Rusty and sang songs to him in the dark. That does not have to change overnight. Lena nodded. We do not need labels right away. No, he said, we do not. I am not asking to move in or to have giant sit-down talks, she said. I just want to see where this goes when we stop pretending it is not there. The way she said it made his chest tighten. There was no demand in it, just a quiet request to let something real exist. He tightened his grip on her hand. We can take it slow, he said. We keep showing up for her the way we have been. We make sure she feels safe first every step. And for us, Lena said, we do not have to rush either. The word us slid easily into the air and stayed there. He searched her face. The freckles across her nose. The faint shadow under her eyes from too many night shifts. The way her hair curled near her temple in the humidity. I am falling for you, he said. I think I have been for a while. That terrifies me. It also feels better than anything has in a long time. Her eyes shone again. Her laugh was soft and disbelieving. I am falling for you too, she said. Probably more than is reasonable, considering all the context. Context is messy, he said. That is the understatement of the year, she replied. They were closer now. He had not noticed exactly when the distance disappeared, but here they were, knees fully touching, shoulders almost aligned. The lamplight threw their shadows together on the wall. He watched her glance at his mouth, then back to his eyes. The old instinct to step back and reset tugged at him, the part of him that had spent 3 years avoiding anything that looked like this. The part that had carried Mia through nights of tears finally spoke louder. He raised his free hand slow enough for her to see it coming. He brushed a damp strand of hair behind her ear. Her breath caught feather light against his thumb. Is this going to make things impossible? He asked. Probably, she whispered. Do it anyway. There was no sudden swell of music, no cinematic cut. Just the lamp, the rain, the soft hum of the heater. He leaned in. The first touch of his mouth to hers was light, a question more than a statement. Her lips were warm, a little unsure. She answered almost at once, tilting closer, her hand leaving his to curl around the back of his neck. Every nerve in his body seemed to wake up at once. There was nothing dramatic about the kiss itself. It was gentle, cautious. Two people learning the shape of something they had both imagined and denied. It felt, he realized in a quiet part of his mind, like unlocking a door he had walked past for years. When they parted, their foreheads rested together. He could feel her breath against his skin, fast and shallow. That was... She started, then stopped, searching for a word. Real, he supplied. Yes, she said. That. They sat like that for a few heartbeats, eyes closed, breathing in the same small space. From the hallway, a soft thump sounded. Both of them lifted their heads. Rusty lay on the carpet just outside Mia's doorway, a small orange shape that had tumbled from the edge of the bed. He must have fallen when she rolled over in her sleep. Lena let out a quiet sound that was almost a laugh. Of course, she said. He would choose now to jump. Ethan stood and crossed the room on bare feet. The carpet felt cool under his soles, the air cooler still. He bent, picked up the fox, and smoothed one bent ear. In Mia's room, she slept on turn toward the wall, breathing slow and even. He set Rusty back in the crook of her arm. Her fingers closed on the toy automatically. He stood for a second, watching her with the fox under her chin and the nightlight painting her cheek in orange. When he returned to the living room, Lena was still on the couch, knees drawn up, a little lips pinker than before. Back where he belongs, Ethan said. Good, she replied. One of us should have our life sorted out. He sat again closer this time, their sides brushed. We do not tell her yet, he said. Not about us, not until it is more than new. Lena nodded. She already knows she can trust me. I do not want to add something she has to question. He turned his hand palm up once more. She slid her fingers into his as if they had practiced it. We do this carefully, he said. No big gestures around her, no secret drama, just small things, for us. Her thumb moved over his knuckles. "I can do slow," she said. "I have waited this long without saying anything. I can handle a little more patience." They stayed like that until the storm quieted to a gentle patter, and the clock over the stove ticked toward midnight. When Lena finally stood to go, he walked her to the door. The porch light clicked on, pouring soft yellow light onto the wet steps. She stepped out, the air cool on her cheeks. Rain had settled into a mist again. She turned back to him, eyes catching the light. "Good night, Ethan," she said. He wanted to lean in again to make the new thing between them tangible once more, but Mia slept down the hall, and the house behind him felt full of watching ghosts. "Good night, Lena," he said instead. She touched his arm once, a brief squeeze through the fabric of his shirt, then moved down the steps. Her car door thudded closed. The engine turned over, headlights carved the darkness. He watched until they swung away. Inside, the house felt both familiar and newly charted. The couch, the lamp, the quiet corridor. All the same, but lined with a different energy now. He turned off the light and went to bed. Sleep did not come easily. When it did, it was full of images of hands and rain, and the way Lena had looked at him when she said the word love. The days that followed settled into a pattern that was almost normal if anyone else had been watching. Messages blinking on his phone in the morning. "How is your coffee on a scale of battery acid to drinkable?" Somewhere in the middle he would reply. A photo from her of hospital sneakers on a scuffed linoleum floor. A reply from him of Mia's cereal bowl with 3 different kinds of cereal mixed together, a chaotic swirl of color. She came by on Tuesday with frozen pizza and a bag of salad. On Thursday she texted from a night shift, asking how Mia's spelling test went. On Saturday she turned up at the soccer field with a thermos of hot chocolate and a blanket. Around Mia they were careful. No lingering touches when they passed in the kitchen. No kisses that were not on the crown of Mia's head. No comments that could not be explained as friendly. When Mia was in the other room, things shifted. Her hand finding his at the sink. His shoulder brushing hers and staying there as they watched a movie. Quick stolen kisses in the shadow of the pantry door, cut shorter than they would have liked by the sound of small feet in the hall. At night, after Mia was asleep and Lena had gone home, his phone buzzed. "You left your mug at my place again. Consider it a deposit," he would type back. The town rolled through autumn into winter. Leaves turned and dropped in slow spirals. The first frost dusted the roofs on their block. At idle moon, the chalkboard started listing spiced drinks and holiday specials. One evening near the start of December, they walked back to the car after seeing the tree lighting in the town square. Mia skipped ahead, her breath a puff of white in the cold air, a paper cup of hot chocolate clutched in both hands. Lena walked beside him, hands buried in her coat pockets. "You still all right?" she asked under her breath. "About you being here," he said. "Yes." "About this," she said. She tilted her head slightly toward the space between them. He thought of the last few weeks, the way his days felt less heavy, the way Mia had started humming again when she played alone, the way his chest no longer tightened every time he walked past Haley's old mug on the shelf. That mug now sat in the back of the cabinet. Lena's lived at the front. "I am more than all right," he said. Her exhale came out in a small cloud. "Me too." Snow started in late December, light at first, then heavier. The house filled with the smell of cinnamon and pine from the fake tree Mia insisted on decorating herself. Lena helped her untangle lights, their fingers brushing over and over while colored bulbs blinked against the window. Through it all, they kept their agreement unspoken but firm. They were careful. Mia watched more than they realized. Her eyes tracked the way Lena looked at Ethan when he fixed a wonky ornament. She noticed how he smiled easier on nights Lena was there. She saw the way Rusty migrated to Lena's side of the couch when they watched movies. She did not say anything yet. She just pulled the fox closer and kept looking. Snow piled in soft ridges along the windowsill, muting the street outside. The house felt wrapped in cotton. In Mia's room, the only light came from the fox nightlight and the small lamp on her dresser throwing warm circles over the posters and scattered crayons. Ethan sat on the edge of her bed with an open book in his lap. His voice rumbled low as he read about a dragon who wanted to be friends instead of breathing fire. Mia lay on her side, blanket tucked to her chin, Rusty wedged between her chest and his arm. Her hair smelled like apple shampoo. "You are doing the voices wrong," she said without looking away from the page. "There are no rules for dragon voices," he replied. "That is the fun part." "He is a nice dragon," she said. "He does not sound nice when you make him growly." "Nice dragons can growl," he said. She considered this, then shrugged. "Maybe." He finished the chapter and closed the book, sliding a thumb between the pages to keep their place. The heater hummed through the vent. Somewhere down the street, a car door thudded, then silence again. "One more," Mia said. "It is late," he said. "You have school in the morning." "Half a chapter," she bargained. "A tiny chapter, a chapterlet." He smiled. "Nice try. No chapterlets. You can tell your teacher you invented a new word, though." She watched his face for a moment, then seemed to accept defeat. Her eyes slid to the doorway. "Is Aunt Lena still here?" she asked. He followed her gaze. The hallway beyond the door was empty. The smell of dish soap drifted in from the kitchen. "She went home," he said. "Her shift starts early." Mia pulled Rusty closer, the fox's stitched nose pressed against her chin. "Dad," she said, her voice small in the warm room. "Yeah. Do you love Aunt Lena?" The question did not come with drama. It just landed quiet and direct. His first instinct was to stall to throw a joke at it, or deflect with a question. He stopped himself. She was 6, but she was not fragile glass. He put the book on the nightstand and turned one leg still on the floor, one knee on the bed. The mattress dipped under his weight. "I care about her," he said carefully. "A lot." "That is not what I asked," Mia replied. He huffed a small breath. "You sound like her when you do that." She did not smile. She waited. He let his hand rest on the blanket near her shoulder. "Would it be all right," he asked slowly, "if I did love her?" Her brow creased. "What does that mean?" "It means I like spending time with her," he said. "I like who I am when she is here. I like how she makes you laugh. It means my heart feels full when she walks through the door." She thought about that. Her fingers moved along Rusty's tail, rubbing the worn fabric. "Would she live here?" she asked. "If you loved her, would she stay at our house like you and me?" "Not right away," he said. "Things like that take time." "But maybe," Mia said. "Maybe," he answered. "Would she be like a mom?" Mia asked. "Or would she still be an aunt? Or would she be an aunt mom? That is not a real thing." "No one will ever replace your mom," he said. He chose each word slowly. "Your mom will always be your mom, even if she is far away and does not call as much as we wish she did." "She does not call at all," Mia said. He swallowed. "Even then." Mia blinked at the nightlight. A fox silhouette stretched over the wall. "But Lena cares about you," he said. "You know that." "She knows how I like my pancakes," Mia said. "She does," he said. "And she knows how you hold Rusty when you are sleepy, and that you hate peas but will eat them if they are hidden in rice." "She makes you smile more," Mia added. He felt that one slide under his ribs. "Does she?" "Yes," Mia said. "When she is here, your face looks less squished." He laughed quiet. "Less squished, that is good to know." "If she lived here," Mia said, "would I have to call her mom?" "No," he said. "Only if you wanted to. She is your aunt. That is already special." Mia nodded like that settled one corner of the question. Her fingers had stilled on Rusty. The fox stared at the ceiling, the light catching a frayed ear. "I think it would be nice if she stayed more," Mia said. "She braids hair better than you, and she is not afraid of the dark." "I am not afraid of the dark," he said. "You check the closet every night," she said. "That is for your sake," he replied, "to scare off any closet monsters who might be thinking about moving in." "You do it when I am at Grandma's too," she said. He sighed. "Traitor." She smiled, then a small tired curve. "Is it okay if I love her?" Mia asked. "Yes," he said at once. "Very okay. She would like that." Mia relaxed into the pillow. "Then you can love her too," she said. "If you want. There is space." The simplicity of it almost undid him. "I will keep that in mind," he said. Her eyes drifted toward the door again. "Can she be here when I do my project for school next week? We have to build the solar system." "If she's not working, I am sure she would like to help," he said. Mia nodded, her lashes lowered. "Good night, kiddo," he said, bending to kiss her forehead. "Good night," she murmured. "Tell Aunt Lena I said she can love you back." "I will pass along the message," he said. He turned off the lamp. The nightlight grew brighter by comparison orange fox in the dark. A week later, the school smelled like wet paper and crayons. Ethan walked down the hall with Mia at his side, Rusty tucked under her arm. Snowmelt dripped from the edges of boots lined up outside classroom doors. Coats hung on hooks in bright, uneven stripes. Lena walked on Mia's other side. She had come straight from a morning shift, her hair pulled back, a soft sweater thrown over a scrub top, sneakers squeaking faintly on the linoleum. "It is the solar system," Mia explained for the 4th time. "We have to show all the planets, even the cold ones." "The cold ones are important," Lena said. "They keep the hot ones company." "Pluto is not a planet anymore," Mia said. "But I am going to put him in anyway. He will be a secret planet." "Your rebellious streak is showing," Lena told her. Ethan carried the cardboard box that held their project. Inside, foam balls painted in bright colors hung from strings. Glitter dusted everything, including his sleeves. Lena had paint under one fingernail. They reached the classroom. The door was propped open with a stack of books. Voices spilled out high and excited. Ms. Vargas, the teacher, stood by a table near the front, arranging name tags next to each project spot. She looked up when they approached. "There you are," she said. "Mia, that looks fantastic." Mia smiled and bounced on her toes. "We have all the planets," she said. "And Pluto, he is hiding." Ms. Vargas laughed. "Of course he is." She turned to Lena and Ethan. "You must be Mom," she said to Lena, holding out her hand. "We met at the open house, right? I remember your eyes." Heat rushed up the back of Lena's neck. Ethan felt it like a shift in the air. Mia jumped in before either adult could answer. "This is my aunt," she said. "Aunt Lena. Dad is Dad. Mom lives in California." The teacher froze for a half-second, hands still extended. "Oh," she said. "I am sorry. I thought I should have checked." "It is all right," Lena said quickly. She took the offered hand. "Lena Hart, supportive aunt." Ms. Vargas gave a relieved smile. "We love supportive aunts," she said. "Thank you for helping." Mia would not stop talking about her project this week. Lena glanced at Mia. "She did most of it," she said. "We are just here for structural integrity." "That string was crooked," Mia reminded her. "It was dangerously crooked," Lena agreed. They set the box on an empty spot. Mia fussed with one of the planets, lining it up with the others. Rusty sat on the corner of the table, his fur dusted with a stray bit of glitter. Other parents floated around the room, some with phones out, snapping photos. Conversations overlapped, soft and chaotic. Ethan stepped back beside Lena. He could feel the tension in her shoulders, the way she kept her smile fixed. "You all right?" he murmured. "It is fine," she said. "I knew it would happen at some point." He watched the side of her face. Her jaw was tight. "She did not mean anything," he said. "I know," Lena answered. "Teachers see family shapes and make assumptions. Everyone does." Mia ran over, grabbed Ethan's hand. "You have to see Liam's," she said. "He made Saturn with real rings from an old CD. It is shiny." Ethan went with her, letting himself be pulled into a small crowd of children and foam planets. Lena stayed where she was next to their project. She reached out and straightened Pluto's string. Her hand trembled slightly. Rusty leaned against the cardboard, his stitched eye tilted up toward her. She exhaled, then turned to join the others. When the viewing time ended and parents filtered toward the door, Mia tugged Lena's sleeve. "Did you like it?" she asked. "Is it accurate?" "It is very accurate," Lena said. "NASA will be calling any day now." In the parking lot, Mia skipped ahead, boots crunching on the salted woodwalk. Ethan and Lena trailed behind. "Are you sure you are okay?" he asked quietly. She rubbed her arms through her coat, as if warding off a chill that had nothing to do with the weather. "It just hit weird," she said, hearing her call me Mom. "For a second it felt nice, then wrong. Then I wanted to disappear." "No one expects you to take that place," he said. "Part of me wants to," she admitted. "Not to erase Haley, just to fill in the empty spots." He thought of Mia asking if she would have to call Lena Mom, of the way she had solved it in her own head by inventing an Aunt Mom. "There are a lot of empty spots," he said. "I do not know what I'm allowed to be," Lena said. "With her. With you." They reached the car. Mia was already inside, wrestling with her seatbelt, humming something off-key. "You are allowed to be her aunt who shows up," he said. "You are allowed to care about her and about me. We do not have to use a name that makes it harder." She looked at him over the roof of the car. "And you?" she asked. "What am I to you when we are here in parking lots and classrooms and grocery stores?" He wished he had a clean word. Girlfriend felt too young. Partner felt too heavy. None of them covered the history. "Right now," he said, "you are the person whose hand I want to hold, and the person Mia runs to when she gets an A on a spelling test. That feels like enough for today." Her breath puffed into the cold air. She nodded. "Enough for today," she repeated. That evening, while dinner bubbled on the stove, Mia sat at the kitchen table with a box of crayons. Papers were spread out in front of her. Her tongue poked out the side of her mouth as she concentrated. Lena chopped carrots at the counter. Ethan stirred the pot. "You are very quiet," Lena said. "That usually means either genius or trouble." "Genius," Mia said without looking up. "Mostly." "Can we see?" Ethan had asked out. "When I am done," she said. "Artists need privacy." Steam rose from the pot. The smell of simmering tomatoes and herbs filled the room, mingling with waxy crayon scent. Finally, Mia sat back and blew out a breath. "Okay," she said. "You can look now." She hopped off the chair and carried the paper carefully to the fridge, holding it by the edges. She smoothed it against the door with small palms, then stepped back. Ethan and Lena came over. 4 figures stood in front of a square house in crayon lines. One tall, one medium, one small. A fox sat at their feet, orange and crooked. Above them, a round yellow sun smiled from the corner. "That is you," Mia said, pointing. "And that is me. And that is Aunt Lena." She tapped each figure in turn. "And him?" Lena asked, pointing to a faint outline in the corner. A figure drawn in lighter strokes, almost an afterthought. The colors were less certain, more smudged. "That is Mom," Mia said. "She is far away. I did not have room to make 2 houses, so I put her in the sky. Not heaven," she added quickly. "Just far, like California." Lena's hand went to her mouth for a moment, then dropped. "Can we put it here?" Mia asked. "On the fridge, so it is the first thing you see when you get snacks." Ethan swallowed against the tightness in his throat. "Yeah," he said, "here is good." He reached for a magnet. Lena beat him to it, sliding a blue magnet over one corner of the paper. Her fingers brushed his. Rusty sat in the drawn grass with a crooked smile. The crayon fox looked a lot like the real one lying on the table, one ear flopped over, stuffing a little thin at the seams. Mia smiled at her work, satisfied. "Now it looks like us," she said, "all of us." She wandered off to the living room, already humming again, leaving her drawing on the fridge bright and plain. Ethan and Lena stood side by side, shoulder to shoulder, looking at the picture. "There is your label," he said quietly, "whether we like it or not." "Aunt Lena with front row placement," she said. Her voice was soft, not unhappy. "I can live with that." He glanced at her profile. Something in her expression had eased. The tightness from the classroom was still there, but less sharp. "She made room," he said. "For everyone," Lena answered. He reached for her hand just for a second, just behind the open fridge door, where Mia could not see if she turned around. Her fingers squeezed his once and let go. The pot on the stove bubbled. The house smelled like tomatoes and crayons, and a little like hope. By late February, the snow had melted into dirty piles along the curb. The town felt gray and wet, caught between seasons. Ethan's front yard was a mix of damp grass and shallow puddles that reflected the low clouds. Inside the house had its own small weather. Most days it felt warmer than it used to. There was always some new drawing on the fridge, some half-finished puzzle on the coffee table. There was often an extra mug in the sink lipstick print at the rim. On the side of the fridge where Mia rarely looked, a postcard was pinned under a magnet shaped like a pineapple. Blue water, a strip of sand, palm trees. The handwriting on the back faced the metal hidden. Ethan knew every loop of the script anyway. He had read it once. "Hey, San Diego is nice. Maybe Mia can visit when she is older. Take care of her. H." He had not read it again. One Saturday afternoon, while Mia colored at the table and Lena rinsed apples in the sink, Ethan's phone buzzed on the counter. A little banner slid down the screen, flashing an Instagram notification. Lena glanced over. Her eyes flicked to his, then away. "What?" he asked, wiping his hands on a dish towel. "Nothing," she said. She rinsed another apple, fingers moving under the tap. The water ran clear over shiny red skin. "Lena," he said. She sighed and tapped her own phone awake. A photo filled the small screen. A beach again, a drink with a tiny umbrella. Haley's profile picture in the corner, smaller, smiling. "She watched my story this morning," Lena said. "The one with Mia and the snowman. I did not tag you, just her." He studied the image. The snowman had been crooked. Mia's scarf had been wrapped twice around its neck. Rusty had sat at its base, pressed into the snow like a loyal guard. "Maybe it was an accident," he said. "Maybe," she said. Her thumb slipped, landed on the one picture with her niece in it. What are the odds? There was no heat in her voice, just a thin kind of tiredness. "She did not message," Lena added. "She never does." He set the towel down. "Does it make you want to say something?" "Yes," Lena said. "And no. I want to send her every photo I have of Mia. I also want to throw my phone in the bay." Mia hummed to herself at the table. She had drawn a fox in space wearing a helmet, stars scattered around him in blue and purple crayon. She looked up. "Can I have peanut butter too?" she asked. "On the apple," Ethan said. "Not instead of." She grinned. "Okay." Lena tossed him a look that said later, and reached for the jar. Later came that night, once Mia was in bed and Rusty was tucked firmly under her arm. Rain had started again, light but steady. It tapped at the windows, slid down the glass in narrow paths. Ethan and Lena sat on the couch with mugs of tea. The television glowed with a movie neither of them really watched. The volume was low. Most of their attention rested in the space between them. "You saw her watch it too," Lena said at last. I saw the notification, he said. I know the handle. She took a sip of tea. Steam fogged the air between her face and the cup. I keep thinking about her, Lena said. Not the way I used to, not good memories or even bad ones. Just her as this shape out there, a person who exists while we are in here doing science projects and bedtime stories. It is strange, he said. She used to be in every room in my head. Now she is more like a noise from the next house. You hear it sometimes. It does not change what you do in your own kitchen. Lena watched him over the rim of her mug. She is still my sister, she said. She is still Mia's mother. That means something, even when she does not show up. It means we will probably have to talk to her eventually, he said, about this. He did not point at the couch at their knees, pressed almost together at their mugs sitting side by side. She knew what he meant. I know, she said. I also know she will not like it. We are not doing anything wrong, he said. Two adults allowed to care about each other, who also care about a kid. Try explaining that to my mother, Lena said. The corner of her mouth lifted without humor. Or to Haley, who has a PhD in rewriting history. He let his head fall back for a moment. The ceiling paint had a faint crack in one corner. He had been meaning to fix it for months. We will figure it out, he said quietly. We will have to, she replied. They let it rest there. Some problems were too big for a single rainy night. A few weeks later, the sky cleared for the first time in days. The air had a different feel, less sharp. Puddles dotted the sidewalk, sky reflected in each one. Mia had been inside too long. She bounced on the couch on the chair on the hall rug until Ethan finally said yes to the park. 5 minutes to find your boots, he said. If you are not ready, we are not going. She returned in 3-1 boot on the wrong foot, the other half zipped, Rusty tucked into the pocket of her coat, so only his head stuck out. At the park, the ground was a patchwork of mud and damp grass. The slide shone with a thin sheen of leftover water. Mia did not care. She charged toward the climbing frame with a shout. Careful, Ethan called. I am always careful, she called back, immediately slipping in the mud and laughing. Lena shook her head. She walked beside Ethan, her hands deep in her jacket pockets. The wind lifted a few strands of hair around her face. They sat on the same bench as before, the wood chilly through their jeans. The metal armrest was cold under Ethan's palm. Mia climbed and slid and climbed again. Rusty watched from the high platform propped between two bars, his fur moving in the breeze. Does she always bring him out? Lena asked. Always, Ethan said. He is her assistant, her emotional support fox. Lena smiled, small and fond. He takes his job seriously. They talked about small things, a neighbor's new dog, a patient of Lena's who had refused to wear a hospital gown because it was the wrong shade of blue, a client of Ethan's who had tried to pay him in homemade soap and old baseball cards. Clouds began to gather again, slowly thickening at the edges. We should head back soon, Ethan said, before it starts again. One more slide, Mia shouted, reading his mind, or simply following the unspoken rules of childhood. One more, he agreed. She climbed the ladder 2 rungs at a time. Rusty slipped a little, then righted at the top. Mia sat pushed off and flew down, hair lifting from her shoulders, boots spraying tiny specks of water when she landed. She ran toward them, cheeks pink. That was the fastest, she said. It looked fast, Lena said. World record. Rain began as a mist, then thickened to small droplets. Ethan felt them on his face, first cool and insistent. Time to go, he said. Grab Rusty. Mia spun. Her face changed. He is up there, she said. She ran back to the ladder, hands already slippery. She climbed to the second rung and looked up. The platform was empty. He fell, she said, voice high. Dad, he fell. Ethan scanned the ground around the slide. Mud, footprints, a lost mitten near the steps. No orange fox. Maybe he is under, Lena said. She moved around the structure, crouching to peer into the shadows. I do not see him. Rain picked up. Drops spattered the metal, making small ringing sounds. Mia's eyes filled fast. Dad, she said, we have to find him. He does not like rain. Ethan checked the ladder, the edges, the grass. Nothing. Maybe he bounced further, he said. We will look. Just breathe all right. Mia's breaths were already coming quick and sharp. He will be scared, she said. He does not know where we went. Lena came back around the slide, hair damp, palms muddy. He is not under, she said quietly. Maybe the wind took him when you slid. Maybe he rolled. Rain darkened their jackets. Ethan squinted through it as scanning the playground. The world looked blurred at the edges. We will do a sweep, Lena said. Grid pattern. You and Mia take that side. I will take this one. Mia grabbed Ethan's hand, small and shaking. They walked back and forth, eyes on the ground, rain hitting their faces, their hair the toes of their boots. 10 minutes later, they had checked every patch of grass, every muddy puddle, every corner near the swings. No fox. Mia's tears mixed with the rain. It was hard to tell where one ended and the other began. "We have to keep looking," she said. "We cannot leave him." Ethan knelt in the mud without caring about his jeans. "Mia," he said gently, "we might need to go home and then come back when the rain stops. He might be easier to see when it is not coming straight into our eyes." She shook her head, curls whipping. "He will think we left him. He will think we forgot." Lena came to stand beside them. Her own face was wet now from rain, from effort, maybe from something else. "How about this?" she said. "We go home, get warm, and let Dad make hot chocolate. Then I will come back and look again. I will not stop until I find him." "You promise?" Mia said. "I cross my heart," Lena replied. She touched 2 fingers to her chest. "I will not go home until Rusty is back in somebody's arms." Mia searched her face. Rain dripped from her eyelashes. "You have to text Dad," she said. "If you find him, right away." "I will," Lena said. "Scout's honor." Mia nodded shaky. "Okay." They hurried to the car, shoes squelching. The heater blew lukewarm air that fogged the windows. Mia sniffled in the back seat, arms wrapped around herself. Without Rusty, her lap looked too empty. At the house, Ethan got Mia into dry clothes, wrapped her in a blanket on the couch, and handed her a steaming mug with mini marshmallows. "I am going back," he said. "But Lena is looking," Mia said, voice muffled against the blanket. "We will both look," he said. "Twice as many eyes, twice as fast." She nodded, but misery clung to her shoulders. Outside, the rain had eased to a steady curtain. The sky was a flat, dull gray. Lena was waiting by her car, hair plastered to her forehead, jacket zipped to her chin. "You are not letting me have the heroic moment," she said. "You can share it," he replied. They walked back to the park together. Mud sucked at their shoes. Their breath hung in faint clouds. This time they searched more slowly, under bushes, near trash cans, around the fence posts. Lena climbed the lower part of the slide, checking the underside of the platform again, hand tracing along the rusted edge. "There," Ethan said. Near the far corner of the playground fence, caught in the low branches of a shrub, a small orange shape sagged. Rusty hung by one arm, fur dark with water, one ear drooping more than usual. Lena got there first. She reached through the wet leaves, careful fingers untangling the fabric. She cradled the fox in both hands as if he had lungs. "He looks rough," she said. "He has been through worse," Ethan replied. They walked back to the car with the little fox between them. Water dripped from his paws. Dirt streaked his belly. At the house, they peeled off wet jackets, shoes, leaving a trail of mud on the mat. Mia sat up when they came in. Her eyes went straight to Lena's hands. "You found him!" she shouted. She launched herself off the couch blanket, falling away, bare feet slapping the floor. Lena knelt to meet her. She held Rusty out. "He was trying to climb the fence," Lena said. "Bad plan, we caught him." Mia took the fox and hugged him so hard his shape flattened. "You left without saying goodbye?" she scolded him. "Do not do that." She pressed her face into his wet fur, then recoiled slightly. "He smells weird," she said. "Because he is soaked," Ethan said. "We need to dry him off and maybe give him a little surgery." Mia's eyes went wide. "No cutting." "No cutting," Lena said quickly. "Just stitches, tiny ones. I am very good at them." They set up an operating table on the kitchen counter, dish towels for sheets, a desk lamp pulled in for extra light. Mia stood on a chair to supervise, blanket wrapped around her shoulders again. Lena dabbed Rusty dry with a towel, then found a small tear at his side where stuffing poked through. Her hands moved steady and gentle with a needle and thread from the junk drawer. Ethan watched her bend over the worn toy, her hair falling forward, a tiny frown of concentration between her brows. The scene felt like a picture of something bigger than a fox with a ripped seam. "There," Lena said at last. She tied off the thread and smoothed the fur. "Good as new, or at least as good as a very brave fox can be." Mia took Rusty back carefully. She inspected the stitching. "He has a scar," she said. "Scars mean stories," Lena said. "Now he can tell the other toys about the time he went flying at the park and survived." Mia nodded, satisfied. She hugged him to her chest again. This time she did not seem to mind the smell. "I thought he was gone," she said softly. "I told you I would find him," Lena said. "I meant it." Mia looked from Rusty to Lena and then to Ethan. "You both came back," she said. "We did," Ethan said. She climbed down from the chair and padded toward her room. Rusty clutched in one arm, blanket dragging behind her like a cape. In the kitchen, the counters still held rings of water and traces of mud. The lamp cast a bright circle on the dish towel that had been their operating field. Ethan leaned against the counter. Water dripped from his hair into the collar of his shirt. He did not bother wiping it away. "You went out in that mess for a stuffed animal," he said. "I went out in that mess for her," Lena answered. He looked toward the hallway where Mia had disappeared, then back at Lena. "She will remember that," he said. "I hope so," Lena replied. He reached for her hand. It was cold from the rain. He brought it to his lips and pressed a kiss to the back of her knuckles. "You stay," he said quietly. "That is the difference." Lena's eyes grew bright, but she smiled. "Someone has to keep an eye on the fox," she said. Outside, the rain slowed. The puddles in the yard grew still. Inside the house held the smell of damp clothes, wet earth, and cocoa. Rusty was back in his usual place, tucked under a small arm, his new stitches firm. Sunday afternoon settled over the house like a soft blanket. The sky had pulled itself together into a clean blue, bare branches, scratching thin lines against it. The puddles in the yard reflected the light like broken pieces of the sky. Inside, the house smelled of pancakes and maple syrup. Mia sat at the kitchen table in pajamas with little stars on them, her hair a wild halo. Rusty leaned against her juice glass, his new stitches barely visible under his dried fur. "These are not round," she said, poking at Ethan's pancake with her fork. "They are abstract," he said, "artistic." "They look like clouds that fell," she replied, but she took a big bite anyway. Lena rinsed the mixing bowl at the sink sleeves, pushed up a bracelet catching the light on her wrist. Sun slid in through the window above the sink, making small shapes on the counter. "Abstract cloud pancakes are my favorite kind," she said. Mia chewed thought, then nodded. "Mine too." They moved around each other easily. Ethan poured more coffee. Lena wiped a splash of batter from the stovetop. Mia told them about a dream she had where Rusty grew wings and flew to school only to decide it was too loud and return home. When the plates were scraped mostly clean and Mia had licked syrup from her fingers, she hopped off the chair. "I am going to build a fort," she said. "Rusty wants a house." "In the living room," Ethan said. "Blankets, not chairs." "Chairs are structural," she argued. "Not my chairs," he said. She rolled her eyes with exaggerated suffering and grabbed Rusty from the table. "Fine," she said. "Blanket engineering only." She skipped out socked feet, whispering on the floor. Lena watched her go, then leaned back against the counter, drying her hands on a dish towel. Sunlight caught dust motes in the air, turning them to slow-moving sparks. "You look less squished today," she said to Ethan. "That is the second time this week someone has commented on my face," he said. "Should I be concerned?" "In a good way," she said. "You look like you slept." "I did," he said. "Mostly because no one woke me up at 3 to ask why the moon does not fall." "Important question," Lena said. "I might start calling you at 3 with follow-ups." His mouth tilted. "Please do not." The landline on the wall rang. They both went still for a second. The sound was sharp in the quiet kitchen. The phone did not ring often. Most people texted. The few who called were either his mother, telemarketers, or the school. He crossed the room and checked the caller ID. Haley. The name sat in black letters on the small screen. The air in the kitchen shifted. He felt Lena go very still behind him. He picked up the receiver. "Hello," he said. There was a faint crackle, then a voice he had not heard out loud in years. "Hey," Haley said. "It is me." She sounded almost exactly the same. A little lighter, maybe. The vowels stretched in a way that suggested California had rubbed off on her. He pressed the phone closer to his ear. "Hi," he said. There was a pause on the line, filled with some distant sound that might have been waves or traffic or a television in another room. "I heard my little sister moved back," Haley said, "and that you have been busy." The words were light, but there was an edge under them. He could picture her a coffee and hand hair, pulled back sunshine, leaking through some wide window. "Lena is here," he said. "She moved back a few months ago. She helps with Mia." "Of course she does," Haley said. "Lena always liked to fix things." He glanced over his shoulder. Lena stood by the sink towel in her hands, eyes on him. She could not hear both sides, but she could read the shape. "How are you?" he asked. "Good," she said automatically. "Busy? The app is doing well. We just partnered with a travel agency. I am back and forth to Mexico a lot. It is pretty nice." He made a small sound that could pass for polite interest. His heart had shifted into another gear when he answered the phone. Now it found a slower rhythm. "How is she?" Haley asked. "Mia, is she okay?" The question landed late. He let it sit for a moment. "She is 6, he said. "She reads above her grade. She hates peas and loves foxes. She still asks why you do not call." Silence, the kind that stretched. "Ethan, Haley said quietly. You asked, he said. That is the honest answer. I am not good at this, she said. At calling, at that. At being a mother, he finished not harsh, just naming it. At being what people expect, she said. I do not know how to step back in now. It has been so long. What do I say? Hey kid, sorry I left. How was kindergarten? He let his hand tighten on the cord. You start with hello, he said. You start with something. Or you do not start at all. This in between is not fair to her. He heard her exhale. Something bumped on her end, perhaps a chair. You sound different, she said. Older, he said. We all are. No, she replied. It is not that. You sound sure. He looked at Lena at the way she stood still and steady, watching, ready to move toward Mia if needed. I had to get sure, he said. There was a kid who needed me to be. And Lena, Haley said. Is she there now? Yes, he said. He heard the faint huff of breath. Of course she is, Haley said. Is this what you have both been doing while I have been gone? Playing house. He felt a flicker of heat then. It passed through him and settled. This is not a game, he said. We get up, we go to school and work, we eat dinner, we help with homework, we check the closet for monsters, that is all. You and my sister, Haley said the words careful now, together. Yes, he said. He did not dress it up, did not soften it. The truth felt clean. I always thought, she began, then stopped. No, it does not matter. It does, he said. Fine, she said. I always thought you and she got along too well. The way you looked at each other sometimes, I told myself it was in my head. I guess it was not. He looked at Lena. Her shoulders were tight, but her chin was lifted. We never crossed a line when you were here, he said. We did not do this to you. You left. The space you left did not stay empty. I know I left, she said sharply. Then her tone dropped. I know what I did. I live with that all the time, even if it does not look like it from your side of the country. The image shifted a little. He could see her now, not just on a sunny balcony, but in a quiet kitchen at night, phone face down on a table, a postcard unwritten. I am not calling to fight, she added. I called because I saw that video, the one with the snowman. Lena posted it, he said. I know, she said. I watched it about 10 times. Mia's laugh, the way she looked at Lena. You were in the background fixing the scarf. It was a lot. His hand loosened on the cord. You could call her, he said again. I do not know what to say, she repeated. Hi, he said. Start there. Tell her you liked her snowman. Tell her the truth, or as much as you can manage. Does she even want to talk to me? Haley asked. She asks about you, he said. She wants to know why you do not call. She wants to know if you forgot our number. He heard a small sound on the line. He could not tell if she had choked on a laugh or a breath. I did not forget, she said. Then use it, he said. Silence again. The clock over the stove ticked. Out in the living room, a blanket rustled as Mia rearranged her fort. If I talk to her, Haley said, what are you and Lena going to be to her? We are the ones who live here, he said. We are the ones who make pancakes and fix toy foxes and stand on the sidelines when she runs for a ball and misses. That is what she calls real. You are her mom. That will not change. He swallowed. But we are not asking your permission, he said, for us. He felt Lena's attention sharpen at that. He kept his eyes on the tile. You sound braver, Haley said. Maybe I am, he replied. Another pause. Then quietly, can I talk to her? He looked at Lena. She nodded once. Give me a second, he said. He covered the receiver with his palm. It is her, he said to Lena. She wants to talk to Mia. Lena's jaw worked. She looked toward the living room, then back at him. Ask Mia, she said. Let it be her choice. He went to the archway. Mia, he said. The fort in the living room was an elaborate arrangement of chairs, blankets, and couch cushions. The entrance sagged a little. A small hand pulled it back. Mia's face appeared shadowed. Yeah, she said. Your mom is on the phone, he said. She wants to say hi. Do you want to talk to her? Mia froze blanket still in her hand. Her eyes flicked behind him, reading his face, then toward the kitchen where she could see the edge of Lena's sleeve. Right now? She asked. Right now, he said. If you want to, you do not have to. She looked at Rusty, who sat propped in a corner of the fort, guarding a pile of stuffed animals. Then she stepped out, the blanket slipping from her shoulder to the floor. I want to, she said. Her voice shook just a little. He held out the phone. It is on, he said. I will be right here. She pressed the receiver to her ear with both hands. Hello, she said. There was a beat then, Haley's voice faint enough that he could not pick out the words, but strong enough for him to feel the shape of them. Mia's face went tight, then eased. Yes, she said. It was my snowman. A pause. Lena helped with the scarf, she said, but I did the face. Another pause. We learned about planets, she said. I put Pluto in anyway, even though they said not to. He watched her shoulders relax notch by notch. Her voice lifted once in a small laugh he had not heard in that shape before. I am 6, she said, almost 7. Time moved differently for a while. The sun shifted on the floor. The smell of pancakes faded, replaced by dish soap and coffee. Finally, Mia held the phone away and looked at Ethan. She said bye, Mia said. She said she will call again. Do you want to say anything else? He asked. Mia thought, then lifted the phone back up. Okay, she said into the receiver. Bye. She pressed the end button with her thumb and handed the phone back. How do you feel? He asked. Mia shrugged. Her eyes were shiny. Strange, she said, but not bad. Rusty looked at her from the fort, one ear bent. She went to him and tucked him under her arm. Can I go back to my house now? She asked. Yeah, he said softly. Go finish your engineering. She disappeared into the blankets again. In the kitchen, Lena still leaned against the counter. The towel was twisted in her hands. How did it go? She asked. Yad. She talked, he said. They both did. And you? Lena asked. How do you feel? He set the phone back in its cradle. His fingers were stiff on the plastic. Like something shifted, he said. Not all the way, just enough. Lena let the towel fall onto the counter. She stepped closer slow, as if afraid a sudden movement would break whatever fragile balance had been reached. Are you all right? She asked. He nodded. I think so. She reached up and touched his cheek, the back of her fingers warm and light. You did well, she said. So did you, he replied, posting that snowman. She smiled. Mild, it seemed important. He slid an arm around her waist, drawing her in until her forehead touched his chest. Through the thin fabric of his shirt, he could feel her breathe. Nothing about this is simple, he said. I did not sign up for simple, she answered. In the living room, blankets shifted. A small voice sang something half-remembered from a cartoon, soft and off-key. Ethan and Lena walked together to the front door. The air in the hallway was cooler. When he opened the door, the bright day spilled in white light, bouncing off the damp yard. The porch boards were still dark from yesterday's rain. He stepped out for a second. The town lay in front of him, quiet, ordinary. A car rolled past, tires hissing through leftover water. Behind him, he heard the small click of the switch. The porch light winked on even in the afternoon, its warm yellow glow fighting with the sun for a place on the threshold. He turned back. Lena stood in the doorway, her hand still on the switch, her other hand loose at her side. You left it on, he said. It looks right like this, she said. Through the doorway, he could see the edge of the fort, one blanket corner sagging, a foxtail poking out. He could hear Mia talking to Rusty about where to put the door. He stepped back into the house. The light behind him washed the threshold. The door closed with a soft sound, keeping the day out and their small, complicated, chosen life in. Thank you so much for listening to today's story. If this story resonated with you or made you reflect, I'd love to hear your thoughts, so feel free to share them in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss the next story.